Picture this. You haven't talked to your best friend in a while, so you decide to call them in your free time. You take turns updating each other on your weekend, what you have planned for the summer, and how members of your respective families are doing. When you hang up, you promise to chat again soon. Without knowing it, you have engaged in a two-way system of communication, popularized as the Schramm's model. Information is of no use unless and until it is carefully put into words and conveyed to others. Encoding plays a very important role because it initiates the process of communication by converting the thought into content. When the information reaches the recipient, his prime responsibility is to understand what the speaker intends to convey. Unless and until the second party is able to understand or decode the information what the sender wants to communicate, the message is actually of no use. Thus, encoding and decoding are two of the most important factors of an effective communication, without which communication can never flow between two individuals. Schramm's model also revolves around the same principle, proposed in 1954 by Wilbur Schramm, thus the name. This model of communication draws its roots from the Shannon-Weaver model itself. According to the Schramm's model, coding and decoding are the two essential processes of an effective communication. Components of Schramm's model: sender, which is a person who encodes and sends the message; receiver, which is a person who decodes the message; message, which is the content being shared between the parties; semantic barriers, which refers to the misunderstanding between the sender and receiver arising due to the different meanings of words and other symbols used in the communication. Advantages: this is the first model of communication which is not a linear model. This does not assume that communication is a unilateral process, but considers it a bilateral process, making it a circular model. Since there's a feedback system in this model of communication, it makes it easier for the sender to understand if the message has been received, interpreted, and comprehended by the receiver or not. Limitations: Schramm's model primarily considers that there are a sender and a receiver, but in reality, there may be multiple senders or receivers, and communication can be a multi step process that is not considered by this model. Conclusion: Schramm's model of communications has more practical usability than Aristotle's, Berlow's, or Shannon and Weaver models. This model can be considered as an amalgamation of classic elements as well as modern elements like semantic noise and feedback. It has more practical application than previous communication models.